They're coming from these countries. So how do you call them asylum seekers? And why are you so up in arms about 36 of them? We're not talking about 3,600. We're not talking about 36,000. We're talking about 36 people that you basically requested. You call them asylum seekers, even though they trekked through multiple countries to get here. And now they're angry because they were misled.
Well, isn't
Imagine.
Sacramento up in the north part?
Yes.
Yeah, so they don't want them there. The establishment bureaucrats up in Sacramento, the capital city, they're not used to this, is my guess. So they're just like, whoa, we can't. We said these people are okay, but only, in the San Diegos and the Los Angeles.
But didn't even Martha's, if I recall correctly, and I'm sure somebody can fact check me, didn't Martha's Vineyard get even more than 36? Didn't they get like 50 or something? And they freaked out.
A couple hundred, yeah, because they're super rich and they don't have anywhere to put these people. Surprise, surprise! There's a news report that we can watch about it.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit long, but I just want you to. Did you watch it already, or is this your first go around? Okay, so let it rip. This is
have confirmed that they orchestrated 2 of the flights from El Paso to Sacramento. Governor Ron DeSantis' administration released this video and says the migrants signed paperwork agreeing to head to the Golden State. California Governor Gavin Newsom has suggested kidnapping charges for DeSantis. His state's attorney general is now investigating whether those flights were illegal.
Human beings are being used as political
pawns.
Wait,
pause it. They are worried now if the flights were illegal, and they do not question the people who. That's immediate. Then you start to realize immediately why they are so caught up on this term asylum seeker, because their whole argument collapses if you just say, "Oh, well, they came here illegally." So now they're worried about the flights, but it gets worse, bro. It gets worse.
They sign this thing probably in Spanish because there's a lot of people that speak Spanish in Florida. It says you agree.
I think they actually talk about that as well in the clip.
We believe these individuals were lied to, deceived, manipulated, exploited, and abused.
Abused.
So what's happening here? New York Times national.
Here's where it gets really good.
Sean Hubler joins
Listen
us
to this woman.
Now, and one thing that we've
New York
noted
Times.
is that Florida officials say these migrants signed paperwork to go to California. What do you make of that? Is that accurate? And even if so, how relevant would that be?
Yeah, it's likely to be quite challenging for California to have much legal recourse in this case. Although the Attorney General is exploring what criminal and civil liability Florida might have for this kind of transport. I mean, these were 36
Listen to her, though. She's
Latin
not sure of
American
anything.
Migrants. They were mostly from Venezuela. They arrived kind of abruptly, first in one plane on Friday and a second plane on Monday in Sacramento without, and usually there's a coordination among NGOs and among states when migrants are transported this way for court dates or for to be nearer to sponsors, that sort of thing. And in this case, these migrants, who, to be clear, are fleeing desperate poverty, or said they were fleeing desperate poverty in places like Venezuela, South and Colombia.
I just want to pause there. Poverty is not a reason why you're allowed to be claim an asylum seeker. I'm poor, therefore it's called economic migration, which is what a lot of people want to do. And that's not a reason why you just get into a country. Like, I would like to.
And on top of that,
can I just walk into the States because I want, a cheaper house? I would love to do that. Economic situation is not a real claim.
Yes, but so now they're that's strike 2. So not only, and again, I'm not an expert on this, but you can't claim asylum if you walk through 4, 5, 6 countries.
Exactly.
And you can't claim asylum if you just want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, as the great Tim Pool once said. You're an economic migrant. Okay. And her stuttering, her mumbling and bumbling, it actually gets worse. This woman who works for the New York Times is she's trying to weasel her way around it, but it's just not going very well. And unfortunately, because they constantly twist themselves into these pretzels, they've already admitted twice now that these people are not quote unquote asylum seekers, but they still use it because that's how stupid they think we are. It's very frustrating.
And we're here, we're in this country seeking asylum. They seem to have no idea where they were going or why they were going there, but they were carrying paperwork, and the paperwork indicated that they had signed these waivers in English that had been explained to them. They said in somewhat broken Spanish that said that they agreed to be flown, that they understood they were being taken to Sacramento, California, and although it was not on the paperwork, according to the immigrants or to the migrants, there had been promises by this contractor from Florida. Run by the Department of Emergency Services, I guess, in Florida, that was started by the state and Governor Ron DeSantis there, ostensibly to underscore the burdens of immigration and President Biden's policies on immigration and the problems at the border, and to force other states to share that burden. So these migrants had not gone to Florida. They weren't in Florida. They were in Texas and had been rounded up outside of a migrant center there. But the Florida program allows the state to pay for their transport anywhere.
Oh yeah, look at that bunch.
So obviously this woman is trying really hard to claim that, to make sure she doesn't say that what they did is perfectly legal, because these are illegal aliens who don't have the right to say where they're going to go, and then sign paperwork that said they're okay with where they're going to go, and then the government paid for their flights to Sacramento. Obviously, I think it should be obvious that none of that's illegal, because the other option is they come in through Texas where they came in through, and then you release them and they're expected to come back, which is the standard operating procedure for people who aren't, high risk criminals, and are just illegal aliens, even though in the eyes of the law, that's a felony in itself. Of course, you can't just go through the border, and then faking a claim for asylum is also another crime. And you should be sent back to the country that was next to your country where you're supposed to claim asylum. So this woman can't come out and say that, so she has to stutter for 6 minutes or whatever that was to not say that.
Yeah, bro. This is incredibly dark, right? So they are now trying to get us to believe that the crime is committed after the migrants show up, and Gavin Newsom is talking about trying to get Ron DeSantis on kidnapping. How stupid do you think we are, bro? I guess that's the running theme of this episode. And it's like, okay, if somebody showed up at your door, and I know the weird occultists kind of hate this analogy, but if somebody showed up at your door and they said, okay, you know what, we don't have room for you, so I am going to send you to I'm going to send you to somebody else's house that has 2 extra rooms, but we don't want that. We don't want to go there. We want to stay. And the migrants don't know what's going on. And she kind of tried to make a point about how it was written in English and explained to them in broken Spanish. Every single thing, if you do not bend over backwards, it's very similar to the LGBTQ stuff, right? If you do not bend over backwards and capitulate to every single thing we need, we don't want to eat your stupid peanut butter and jelly. We want empanadas from our homeland. No, you got to go back, bro. And this lady stumbles and bumbles around her words for 6 minutes, like you said, even after admitting that these people are not asylum seekers twice over, and they still just use it because this is another one of their Democrat doublespeak type of things where they're literally doing the exact opposite of what they're telling you they're doing. It's absolute insanity.
Turn it up, Jordan.